Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 16th May 2017. The first article, Triple Talaq Not Fundamental to Islam. In this, the author argues that an excessive focus on diverse law is making the woman, or else making the other developmental issues of Muslim women getting sidelined. Now, if you take diverse among the Muslims is around, or diverse Muslim women are around 0.25%, but illiterate women are around 48%. But excessive focus on personal law and issues related to diverse, these other issues of development related to health and education are not getting prioritized. And second is, if you take the Quran did not accept, has no acceptance to the present form of triple talaq. So as per the Quran, there has to be mediation and reconciliation process at least tried for 4 times before triple talaq is announced. And triple talaq has to be spread over a period of 3 months. And after that, if the husband still stays on to it, then only it has to be executed. So it means there is no place for instantaneous talaq. This instantaneous talaq, it has come from Hanafi jurisprudence. Now the second is, can Supreme Court look into the matter of triple talaq? Yes, under Article 141 and 142 of the Constitution, the Supreme Court can look into these matters. But here, what is the government's argument? In 1937, Shariat Act is being passed by the British rulers. This is also called Muslim Personal Law Application of Shariat Act 1937. Government argues that in 1937 itself, the religion is being separated from divorce among the Muslims. Because this is a codified law, as religion is already separated, it cannot be seen as a protection under Article 25 of the Constitution, which provides for freedom of religion. And added to that, the triple talaq and its validity shall be seen from the context of gender equality. This is what is the government's argument. And finally, what we can state is, the triple talaq, as it has no Quranic acceptance, it can be declared as invalid by the Supreme Court in its present form. That is what is this article's point is. Putting a global price on carbon. So what is carbon tax, we need to understand. Let's take if I have an air conditioner, or if I am using more electricity than normal individual, I shall be taxed more, because as my electricity is more and more produced from thermal energy, I am responsible for releasing the carbon into atmosphere. And the second thing is, if I am using renewables, I shall be incentivized, and as I am playing a role in carbon reduction from the atmosphere. So in this context, as of now, international agreements on climate change, either it is Kyoto Protocol or Paris Climate Pact, it is on quantitative reductions of the carbon by individual countries. Instead of that, if it leads to carbon tax, it is more quantifiable. So administratively easily administered. There is no need to refer to the baseline years in the case of carbon tax. So in climate change mitigation plan, India has to shift towards the carbon tax. That is what is this article emphasizes. Off the road. This is about the recently held Belt and Road Forum. Now here India did not participate, and it has given 3 major objections. One is the sovereignty and integrity concerns of India, as China-Pakistan economic corridor is going through Gilgit-Baltistan region. And second is, it is an exhibition of neo-colonialism by China, and it can create indebted communities across the regions where Silk Road is going. That is the second objection. Already if you see, Colombo port is an example to this. And finally, India sees geopolitical measures or geopolitical intentions rather than geo-economic intentions from the Belt and Road Initiative. So that's why it has kept itself aloof. So here the editorial argues that by India not attending the BRF, it has closed the diplomatic doors. United States, Japan, Vietnam, which have serious differences on territorial disputes with China, also have attended this particular BRF, sent their delegations. Probably India could have opened its doors. That's what this article talks about. Timely refresh. So, what are the indices are meant for? Indices are supposed to give an idea about the ground realities. It means that they need to be updated regularly to reflect the ground situation. So, in this, the IIP Index of Industrial Production, Wholesale Price Index, these are being updated. It means the base year is being changed from 2004 2005 to 2011 2012, and the content of the items and relative weightage for each items is also being changed to reflect the existing scenario. So these indices can provide greater inputs for planning and policy making. That's what this article talks about. Now let's go to the open-end page, the Modi paradigm. If we have to explain the 3 years of rule by the NDA-2 government with Prime Minister Modi at the helm of affairs, it can be reduced to 2 points. One is competitive and cooperative federalism, and second is minimal government and maximal governance. In this spirit, the expenditure of the government is expected to be reduced and more capital where it can be efficiently used, that is to the private sector, shall be made accessible. That is what is called minimal government and maximal governance. It does not mean the country or government is moving away from the poor. The government will be focusing on the poorest of the poor, and it is going to target benefits towards them. So either you take about Aadhaar or Ujjwala scheme, all these are meant to benefit the poorest of the poor. And second is, previously government was working with regulation and there was excessive regulation everywhere. Now it has been given way for ease of doing business. So to what extent the states can attract the investments, that is what is left to the states itself. So that's why it is minimal government and maximal governance which is being emphasized. And competitive cooperative federalism. With regard to cooperative federalism, the states are taken into confidence now. Previously, the Planning Commission, National Development Council, all these have represented the dominance of the center in federalism. Now, Team India as a concept, it is to integrate the center and states in achieving collective objectives. The Niti Aayog Governing Council, Chief Minister's subcommittees on various issues, the greater financial transfers to the state governments after 14 Finance Commission recommendations, all are in the spirit of cooperative federalism. Coming to competitive federalism, the center is developing various indices on which it is measuring the performance of various states and cities so that one can compete with the other. Added to that, it provides a reliable information for the citizen to make their governments accountable. So now recently, Cleanliness Index has come into existence, and also for various states, Ease of Doing Business Index has been given. All these are the examples for nurturing the competitive federalism in India. The public in public health. Now, for BPL families, an insurance program has been brought in, that is Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana. It is the world's largest public health insurance program. But how about the benefits coming to the people? The first is, the publicness is missing in the public health insurance program over here. It is because most of the citizens do not know about it and they do not have access to this program. And lack of the government oversight has increased unnecessary health services and over-treatment. For example, hysterectomy to poor women is clear of this. So government oversight has to be increased. In many places where the cards are delivered, what the use these cards are for the people has not been explained. There is no proper public awareness towards this. So, it is the time public in public health has to be brought back. It means that there has to be greater awareness, greater participation of the people. That is what is being expected. Now, when being clever isn't enough, what this article says is the resources allocation and how innovation and entrepreneurship is respected, that will determine the economic prosperity. So it means If entrepreneurship, innovation, and hard work these are being respected by the institutions, then obviously the energies of the smart people will be going towards better productivity. If not, they will be going in the wrong direction, causing stagnation in economy. Recently, the growth in India and China can be explained through strong institutions that are able to drive energies in the positive direction. So this is what is given by Mr. William Baumol in the case of United States of America. So this is what is the important thing which we can remember. It talks about institutions. If you recollect my class, the institutions will determine the future of governance. In the globalized world, the countries that got benefited are those that have the strong institutions to deliver. So that point can be connected with this. Now coming to the front page, will enact divorce law for Muslims. The government argument is already the Muslim personal law is codified. It means marriage and divorce among the Muslims are codified. So it do not attract or it is not under the Quranic principles, but it is under the act made by the Britishers. So it cannot be subjected to the Article 25 of the Constitution. If Supreme Court makes the triple talaq invalid, then government is intent to make the divorce law for Muslims. The major criticism about triple talaq is on gender justice. As women cannot initiate the process, only men can do that. And second is, there is instantaneous talaq, which is against to the rights of the woman. And there are no alimony rights to the woman. These are the issues with triple talaq. And in Jadav's trial is farcical, that's what India says. And let's see how this unfolds to discuss more about this. And added to that, Islamic law is anglicized, that is what his center says. So as I already explained to you, the Islamic law, rather than remaining as a religious law, it has been codified and anglicized by 1937 Shariat Act. That is what is the center's argument. What is the other's argument over here represented by Kapil Sibal? So whatever the discrimination faced by women is not just among the Muslims, it exists among all religions. It is due to the patriarchal nature of Indian society. Now let's get into the business page. The cash is back as digital payment dips on costs. Now the cash brings in anonymity and also the costs of cash transactions are minimal. On the other hand, if card transactions have to be made, a merchant has to pay 1 to 2% of the fees to the banks. So that's why merchants are willfully discouraging the use of cards and they are intended to do transactions only with money. So there is a clear dip of digital transactions once the entire economy got remonetized. That is what is this article talks about. Iran sets new conditions for gas block. You know that Farzad B gas blocks in Iran are being explored by ONGC Videsh Limited. Now Iran is demanding for more money for the unit of gas being extracted from these places, almost triple the existing price. That is what is this article talks about. And ransomware is continuing to create havoc across the countries, but India did not get much affected by this. Only the TTD, Tirupati Tirumala Devasthanams, and local government computers in Kerala got affected by this. That's what is the article talks about. New Silk Road can spur China-India partnership, China-India-Pakistan partnership as per the expectations of a Chinese scholar. Let's go to the revision of this page. The status of triple talaq. As I said to you, the triple focus on divorce and triple talaq issues is shifting the focus away from the developmental agenda for Muslim women, and it is not sanctified by the Quran. So any other law which is sanctifying that will be subjected to Quran, which is the supreme law. So it will not stand for legal validity. And Supreme Court under its constitutional rights can adjudicate on triple talaq. These are the 3 points the author is expecting us to know. And second is putting global price on carbon. It is about imposing the carbon tax rather than limiting the quantitative emissions of carbon. And off the road, India shall not close the diplomatic door on Belt and Road Initiative. That is what is the article talks about. And the next is the timely refresh. It is related to stating that The IIP and WPI change in base year can reflect the ground realities better. And the Modi paradigm can be reflected by two things. One is, it is maximum governance and minimal government, competitive and cooperative federalism. So these are the things which we need to remember. And Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana, lack of access, awareness, excessive treatment, lack of oversight. These are the things which are challenging publicness of public insurance program, that is Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana. These are the articles for today, and thank you very much. All the best.